Hi, everyone. It's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Welcome to a new day in your life. I hope you're feeling great. Hope that you're well physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's part of being 60 to have the opportunity to bring that all together. Hopefully, you've got enough time and space in your life to be focusing on you now. This is what it's all about. And I've got an idea today that may help you to get deeper with that concept of knowing yourself. And I want to chat with you about it in a second. But my tea for the day is actually, I've got this really crazy one. It's called Wild Apple and Cinnamon. It's a really interesting combination. It says something else in here as well. Um, it says no other spices, but it's very, very cool. Cinnamon, by the way, is supposed to be super good for you. It says to add it to your coffee. It's one of these magic spices. Mother Nature's given us all kinds of incredible things to keep us well and healthy. But I've got my pretty little mug this morning that I like and a cup of tea. So I hope that you're doing the same and just sit back and relax. Now, have you ever thought about writing a book? I mean, not a biography or a memoir, but a book. Now, Penelope Whiteley is one of our bloggers and a friend. I know Penelope. I've met her a couple of times now in person, and she's a crazy lady and just wonderful, full of life, full of challenges as we've all had, but she is so resilient and amazing, and I like her a lot. She's tried all different kinds of approaches to her businesses, and she's got some very cool things. She does trips, tours for women. She does online courses, and one thing that she does is a really cool program. It's called just Write the Damn Book. That's the name of the program. And it's for people who are trying to write a book and just don't know where to start. So she wrote an article for us that summarizes the process. And I'm going to kind of go through it with you and, just chat about writing a book. It's something that maybe in the back of your mind. Now, by the way, I just pulled this from my behind my bookcase because I wanted to let you know that I actually did write a book. I've written two books, but one has been published by me and one has been published by a publisher. And this one was published in '83. So that shows you how long ago it was when I was working with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and I was approached by Souvenir Press to write a book on hospices. And at that time, there were no hospices in the United States. Maybe a couple associated with hospitals, but there wasn't a hospice movement. So I wrote this book. It was called The Hospice Alternative: Living with Dying. They chose the picture, but funnily enough, it looks very much like my mom. It was a really interesting choice, but they chose it without me even knowing. But anyway, it was a book. It's actually a bit yellow pages now, but Elizabeth did the preface for it, and it's one of these books that was on in lots of libraries. It was about the hospice movement as we knew it in the Europe and the history of the movement, and the whole idea of it being an alternative way to die. And now, of course, it's become a huge, thing, and it's helping so many people. But that was my book. But when you've decided it's time to write the book, you've got to think about it. It's like a unicorn, Penelope says. It's kind of ephemeral. Like, I don't know whether I ever would have written that book if I hadn't been asked to write it by a publisher. But she says, "What are you going to write? To create something that others will enjoy." It's a thing that you want to give and to nurture. There's a really wonderful TED talk by Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and she talks about the writing muse. It's almost like a person, like a character that sits on your shoulder, and every now and again it gives you the gift of an idea, and then it's like up to you to sort of meet it halfway and go ahead and do something about it. So it's really kind of a cool image. But she says anyway, lots of preparation is involved in writing a book. So Penelope guides us through what you need to think about. So question one: what do you want to write? Do you want it to be fiction, nonfiction, biography? Do you want it to be about travel, nutrition, retirement, your own personal experience with, I don't know, with a relationship or a travel experience? What do you want to write about? Exercise, well-being? Do you have a craft that you've gotten really good at, and quilting or sewing or knitting, that you think you could share information with other people? Now, I think you have to start this whole process like not thinking about a publisher. You either have to write the book or just don't write the book. But if you want to write it, you don't need to think like, how am I going to sell it, or how rich will I get, or will it make me famous? That's probably not the right way to start. I mean, Elizabeth Gilbert wrote Eat, Pray, Love. I don't suppose she thought it was ever going to be as popular as it was, but you've got to start where you are. So then the next step, of course, is to research and prepare. And if you're doing a nonfiction book, then you've got to really dive into this. I mean, this could mean going to another country. It could mean going somewhere in the country. It could mean, where you have to be physically there to do the research. I still probably in the back of my mind have got a book that I want to write, and I would need to spend some time in England in a certain town, for probably several months researching the book, because all the records are there and in the British Museum or British Library, and that would be part of my journey. So the next thing then is to, one thing you could do, I just look at my notes here, is to go to Penelope's course, write the damn book. Just write the damn book. Just do it, and take her program, because it's not that expensive as I remember, but it's basically it takes you through the steps, ask you the questions that we're talking about here. So fiction requires more work creatively probably than nonfiction, because you're creating it from your head. Who's the hero or the heroine? Who are the protagonists? The enemies. What's the drama? What's the challenge? The journey, and that's obviously going to take you a little longer because these people become your friends. One of my friends in Bali, Sherry Bronson, is writing it's an autobiography, but she's also now written a second book, and just talked about how fun it was for these little new characters to come into her life and take shape. And I think that's kind of the fun of writing a fiction book. So nonfiction, that requires, of course, that you know the demographic, you know who you're writing for, you know what the book's going to be about. And it's, like I said, it takes more preparation with planning and research, because you need to be informed. And once you've got the decision of fiction, nonfiction, those are the two big categories. You could be writing a biography, for example, or a how-to book, how to do something. That's that's really like a fiction or a nonfiction. But once you've done that, then Penelope reminds us we have to have a good place to work. This is so important, and everyone has their own style. Everyone has their place. I was just in Edinburgh a few weeks ago, and we went to the place Elephant Cafe, where J.K. Rowling created Harry Potter. She actually sat in the very chairs that we were sitting in with her pen and paper writing. She didn't write at home. She didn't write in a library. She wrote in a cafe. And I find that for me, writing in a noisy place is actually is better. But that was her style too. You've got to obviously have a chair, a nice chair. I mean, she was sitting in a cafe chair, so it couldn't have been quite as comfy as an office chair that you might need. But again, it's just find the place that is comfortable for you. Is it noisy or quiet? Good chair? Are you, standing up at a desk? Plenty of light is always good. In fact, the cafe that I go to just has huge windows, and it's really, for me, I love that, being able to gaze out and think, and then come back to my writing for 60andMe, and have a good temperature. If it's not too cold, if it's too cold, take a sweater. If it's too hot, dress appropriately. Just be comfortable. That's the most important thing. And Penelope highlights this one. Make sure you take a bottle of water, big bottle of water. Get hydrated. Take your pencils and pens, large writing pad or your laptop or your computer, and with a big smiley face, a coffee machine. Some people can work without coffee. I'm not one of those people, and I guess Penelope isn't either. But this is the whole point of it, is to just create the space that you need to work. And I've always found that if you just give yourself a sort of a plan of 1 page a day, 2 pages a day, 1 paragraph a day, just has to be consistent, and do it every single day. Do 1 bit of research or 1 bit of writing, and you'll get there. You will write the book. But anyway, I thought that was a really fun article by Penelope. Check it out if you want to get all the more detail, and check out her website if you want to look at this Write the Damn Book program. And tell me, when did you ever have a desire to write a book? When did it first come to you? Is it fiction or nonfiction? Just let us know about your where it's come to you to perhaps write a book, and do you know who your readers are? Have you thought that through? But if you're a potential author, or you are an author, maybe you've already written a book, just leave us the comments in the section below. It'd be really fun to know what everybody's up to. So have a wonderful day, everybody. Check out the deck, the inspirational deck of cards are aging beautifully. That was my attempt at writing. I wrote little mini stories in the back of the cards. But we appreciate your support as always, and have a great day wherever you are. And we'll talk again very, very soon. Bye for now.